preseason a tie.
That's why you run it. That's a preseason game, Joe.
He's not wrong, though, man.
No,
I mean,
he's
look,
not wrong.
These reps matter for everybody, Matt. Coaches, like play callers. I mean, clean it up.
By the way, how about Cam Little hitting a 70-yarder last
That's insane.
Like, when you watched him kick at Arkansas, you knew, like, Arkansas stunk, but that guy just kicked the mess out of the football. And you just knew it was setting up for Cam Little to go drill like a 60-yarder. I think they said where they were. They were in line for I think he was right 57 or 60, right around there. He would have had a shot at the win, but Jonas Sanker comes up with the interception. By the way, Jonas Sanker, how about a little presence of mind? Watch the clock. Get down or get out of bounds so you give yourself a chance to kick it. I know everybody's complaining like that he should have had 1 second left. They reviewed it. I don't care. Get out of there, whatever. The result, bottom line is the result of the game doesn't matter. I thought Jonas Sanker actually was very good. He's one of my notes. The results of the game in a preseason, they don't matter. The results are irrelevant. Preseason is all about getting a look. It's about getting reps. It's about individual performances. You don't game plan for a preseason game. You're not showing anything. You are intentionally vanilla. This is a glorified scrimmage to find out who's going to make your football team. It's just another piece of evidence. I have some takeaways that I want to get into. It is important to note, Jacksonville played their starting offense, and so actually their starters on both sides of the ball at the onset of the game. So the fact that they outrushed New Orleans like 200-47 in the first half, outgained. I don't care. I mean, they wanted to get Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. and ETN reps. Okay. You had a couple of third downs in that first possession. They converted them, throwing to their tight end. They probably would have been flawless scoring there with Lawrence, but for the offensive lineman stepping on his foot and then Lawrence fumbling a snap that Vernon Broughton recovered, which was cool to see. But that part of it, I'm not as concerned with. I'm more impressed that in the second half, when it was your backups against their backups, your guys trying to make the team against their guys trying to make the team, your defense pitched a shutout. You realize that? Saints defense pitched a shutout in the second half of this football game. And they got 3 takeaways. The Lawrence fumble there at the beginning, and you got a couple of interceptions in this ball game as well. So I thought that was really encouraging. I know everybody is going to start with the quarterbacks. Fine, we can go there. It was almost a role reversal from a week ago where Tyler Shough played the second half, had the better stats, the more explosive plays, also had the pick 6. Rattler in the first half was very underwhelming. It just inverted this week. Shough was very underwhelming in the first half. Rattler had the big plays, threw for just a hair under 200 yards, had the touchdown, had the costly interception. I loved the 2-minute drive by Spencer Rattler at the end of the football game to tie it with the 2-point conversion. I absolutely hated the interception in the red zone at the 13-yard line when you had a chance to get points right there. Tyler Shough led a drive that ended in a field goal where, maybe they get a touchdown, but he throws a pass to Chris Olave that Olave drops down around the 10, 12-yard line. You got to make that play. And I would imagine Chris Olave makes that play 99 times out of 100, but in that situation, it meant the Saints settled for a field goal instead of maybe a touchdown. After the game, Kellen Moore was asked about Spencer Rattler and his performance against Jacksonville. Here's what he said.
I think that was a big moment and opportunity for him to have that great drive going down the field. You throw an interception and have to respond, and he responded really, really well. Put the team in excellent position, did a great job with situational football in that 2-minute drive. His ability to play with his feet, came up in a number of situations, and I just thought our guys did a really good job in that 2 minutes just handling and understanding what the situation was.
He's right. In that 2-minute drive, you overcame 2 penalties. Seth Green, the tight end, had a really nice, strong hands reception. Rattler had a beautiful scramble on that play. It was the play where they reviewed, where he dove forward. They reviewed it and let the play stand where it was. Of course, Dante Pettis, the touchdown reception was gorgeous, catching the ball around the 5 and then powering his way up the field into the end zone. And then the 2-point conversion, the play wasn't there. Rattler showed his ability to make a play with his feet, getting around right end and getting in the end zone to tie the game. So there was a lot to like there in that. For me, I'll tell you my biggest takeaway, I think. I keep looking for, I've repeated this a bunch, and I'll keep saying it. I keep looking for foundational players. Like, can we find guys that are potential starters, guys that you could build a foundation on for the future? And, like, I look at someone who continues to pop like Danny Stutsman. He just keeps flashing on the screen. 5 more tackles. He had a pass breakup as well. And the other one that I thought was awesome was Jaylan Ford. Jaylan Ford ended up with 4 tackles. He had the gorgeous interception. He had a TFL as well. And by the way, Jaylan Ford, his PFF grade, and again, PFF, I get just a metric. It's not the metric. Sometimes I look at PFF, though, to say, like, does that confirm or disconfirm what I think my eyes saw? So, like, I'm looking at 53 on the field who looks like an action figure, in like an old starting lineup action figure in the uniform. I'm looking at 53. He looks awesome. I go look at PFF. His grade was a 90.5. The only player on the entire team that had a higher PFF grade was Rajon Wright, who had a 92.1. By the way, the Jonas Sanker interception at the end of the game, that was caused by Rajon Wright breaking the ball up. It floated in the air that Sanker was able to pick it off. So, love to see that. The flip side of it is, I thought DeMarco Jackson really struggled. He looked like he was always a step slow, out of the play, missing tackles. Lo and behold, DeMarco Jackson was he tied with Colin Saunders as the lowest graded players on the entire team at PFF with a 29.9. Like, I think you are starting to identify future starters on that defense. I think Jonas Sanker is a guy who just looks like he has a different level of speed closing to the football. And you can tell a lot of times, it's almost like, if you want the comp, like if you go watch a high school game on a Friday night, sometimes you're watching a bunch of like high school guys run, and then there's one guy on the field that just is playing at a different speed. Okay, that guy's the Division I guy. And then you go watch a college football game, and it's like there's one guy who makes everyone else look like they're moving in slow motion. You're like, yep, well, that's Leonard Fournette, right? That's the guy that's going to be the top 10 draft pick. That's Will Campbell. And the same thing is true whenever you watch preseason. Like, you're watching a bunch of guys, and a lot of them are going to be, cut, practice squad, selling insurance next week. And then there's guys who are Sunday players. And Jonas Sanker looks to me like a Sunday player, like a guy that's going to make the team and be an impact guy and a potential starter down the line. Same with Danny Stutsman, same with Jaylan Ford. So I like the fact that it looks like you've hit on some of those guys that could be key guys for you in the future. Some of the big plays, Mason Tipton, 45-yarder. He was your highest-graded offensive player, the 45-yard reception from Rattler. How about Trayton Welch, the 28-yarder from Tyler Shough? That was the one on the right sideline where Shough put it up. Welch went up, tight window, made the play, came down hard, kind of got hurt coming off the field. But 2 really nice plays there by a couple of guys. I know there's going to be so much concentration on the struggles of the offense in the first half, and people are going to zero in on Tyler Shough. And I'm not saying that he's immune, but for whatever it's worth, Shough was the second highest offensive grade on PFF behind Tipton. Shuck's grade was a 74.3. But he had no pass protection. I mean, the first series of the game, they run the ball. On second down, he gets sacked. On third down, he's about to be sacked again. He gets rid of the football, throws it right at Cesar Ruiz. By the way, Ruiz is the one who olayed that block. That, for me, is the bigger problem right now, is you have so much invested in this offensive line by way of draft picks and draft capital, and they're just not any good. Now, there was no Eric McCoy. I mean, there's a gigantic chasm of a difference between Torricelli Simpkins III, who's starting at center right now, who's never even played center, who's a guard at South Carolina, and Erica McCoy, right? I mean, it's just a dramatic upgrade. And then obviously with no Trevor Penning, it was Dylan Radden's former second-round pick who you signed in free agency, started last game at right tackle, now is at left guard, replacing Trevor Penning with the injury. So let me see what week 1 looks like when you have all of your starters in there and how much better this line may look. But it's the same thing as we talked about last year. It's really hard to judge when you have such a leaky offensive line, and they just have to be better. They have to be. You've invested so much draft capital into that unit. It just has to perform. The other note that I wrote down was about running back. I think Kendre Miller continues to look really, really good running the football. You could see the ability and why they liked him so much. 6 carries for 21 yards, his long of 13. He had another 12-yard run negated because of a holding on Torricelli Simpkins. But that was maybe his most impressive run of the day that got negated. And then Clyde, the catch Clyde made on the sideline in the third quarter when he got upfield and like plowed over some cat, that's the type of thing, that play and the 11-yard reception he made, like that play and his blocking ability are why I think Clyde's going to make this team over Cam Akers. If you're going to keep three, it's going to be Kamara, it's going to be Kendre, and I think it's going to be Clyde at this point. Not only because of his ability to run hard. I mean, listen, if you're an NFL running back, you can run hard, you're fast, you're athletic. We know Clyde can catch the ball out of the backfield, and they love to throw the ball to the backs. But his ability to run block and to pass protect, I think, are a differentiator for Clyde right now because you are really struggling up front to protect your young quarterbacks. And if you have to have another layer of protection, that guy is the best pass blocking running back that you have. Now, how would he factor in on game days? I don't know, but it is something worth considering and probably why Clyde has a little bit of a leg up right now to make this team. So they tie 17 all. In an efficient day, an error-free day largely for Tyler Shough, a more explosive day for Spencer Rattler, although it did come with the big turnover. After the game, Kellen Moore was asked, can you play number 4, please, about if they've narrowed down the quarterback competition. Naturally, he's not going to say much.
Have you narrowed this quarterback battle down to Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough?
We're just going to keep building through this process. And, we think we got 3 really good ones here, and we'll continue to build.
Obviously, Hayner's not a part of this at all. He didn't play. I think the fascinating thing is normally when you get to that 3rd preseason game, they treat it like the 4th preseason game. It used to be where you don't play anybody. Well, this is one of those instances where I think you look and you say, your young guys have to get reps. Every rep is so valuable for these guys. So how do they handle it? Do they flip it again, let Rattler start and get him the first half, Shough the second half? Like, how do they do it for the 3rd preseason game? Because you're ticking down to the opener now. You play the 3rd preseason game this weekend, then you're off the following weekend, and then you play week 1, September the 7th at home against Arizona. So I understand working through the process, but this process likely will extend into the regular season by the way things are going right now. But a lot of growth and just more evidence of what's happening. I'm going to continue to say this over and over again. I know people don't like to hear it. I am not expecting anything from this team by way of a win-loss record. I think they're probably a 5-12 football team. I think they can win week 1, by the way, against Arizona. But I am more interested this season in identifying foundational pieces for the future that you can build around. I think you're starting to identify some of those in particular on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.